Hello everyone, this is Persephone, and today I want to discuss some of the work of Dr. Kenneth Adams, who talks about emotional incest. He emphasizes on the dynamics between a son and his mother, although in my case, because he talks about women, I found a lot of disturbing elements in my own family of origin as well. And I'm making this video because I'm curious to see if people from my channel can identify with some of the signs or what happened to the people in the books that I'm going to talk about. Because it's important to understand that some of the things that happen to us, or even some of the things that we consider personality traits, could be a result of very serious abuse. So in many cases, in the majority, if I may say so, marriages fail. And especially in the older times, because a great percentage of my fans and my subs are older, by older I mean over 40, divorce wasn't a choice. So usually what happened was that the parent became absent physically or mentally, and the mother attached herself to her children. And also that is a pathology that society tends to reward, like this attentive, protective mother. She doesn't have a personal life because she's all day caretaking her children or her husband, and usually one of the children, especially if it's a boy, is being singled out to become a surrogate spouse for the mother, which is so disgusting. Like, I feel icky even saying it, but I don't know how else to describe it. So there isn't any overt incest involved. I'm not going to talk about these cases, but the mother is acting inappropriate towards the son. Like, for example, she may be making sexual comments about his body, or she's acting jealous if he wants to go out with his friends, like a jealous girlfriend, or she's going out on quote-unquote dates with him, which is, oh, my son took me out on a date. All of these behaviors essentially transfer some of the sexual tension, some of the sexual deprivation that she has to the child that is not equipped psychologically to deal with all of that. And if the case is even more extreme, she may start saying things like, you can't leave me alone, you are all I have, I depend on you, help me take care of your siblings. Or the son may be doing things around the house that the father doesn't do. You're going to say, okay, where is the loser father in all of that? Usually the father, the parent of the same sex of this dynamic, feels contempt and disgust for his wife, and that is usually transferred to the son, that you see that he doesn't care about the son, he doesn't teach him any proper, like, masculinity passages or rights. Like, I had men saying to me that my father never taught me to drive, never taught me to shave, we didn't have a conversation. Because of my involvement with Asian men and, like, non-white people in general, I had men even telling me that my father has been to the US for like 40 years and he never learned English, and we had a language barrier inside the house where he couldn't even talk to me. And I used to say, are these fathers like mentally insane? You don't care to communicate with your own son? Like, okay, you didn't learn English, you didn't even teach your son, let's say, Chinese or Japanese or whatever was like the native language in the country that you came from. And now I realize that this was on purpose, that the father wanted this language barrier to continue because, first of all, he felt contempt for the son. Some fathers even feel jealous if the mother takes it to the extreme. And second, because it was convenient. For example, for fathers that they were cheating, okay, so the wife is going to be preoccupied with the microcosm of drama in the house and talk to her son, and the father can go out and do his own thing. So it worked for him. He didn't want the communication to continue. So when this happens and the son becomes older and he wants to start dating, a series of unfortunate and often tragic things may or may not happen. Thing number one is that the mother was extremely engulfing and she didn't teach him anything when it comes to women or dating, and also she doesn't let him go out and try and learn through trial and error by himself. So maybe your parents keep you poor, maybe they didn't teach you to drive, maybe they didn't give you opportunities, maybe they made you extremely shy and dating is very difficult for you, and then mommy says, you're always going to have me, you don't have to do anything, just stay home, as if the son is some kind of asexual being. Or she's rejecting and abusing every single one of the girls that the son brings home to introduce to her. Or she's doing things like to sabotage the son. For example, men who were obese and they were trying to lose weight. By the way, there is no proof that having this type of involvement with your mother can make you gay, because the question that I get is that, okay, I had an overbearing mother like that. But what happens is that even if you are gay, for reasons that I'm not going to analyze to this video, this emotional incest is still damaging to you. Like, you're going to try to go out there and date men and you will fail. So it's very important to recognize where a lot of these problems come from. And in many cases, it's very easy to just hate your father and say, oh, my mother was the only person who cared for me in that household. She was the only person that I could go and talk to. We were a team. But in a sense, they were both equally destructive to you, equally abusive, and your existence was serving and gratifying their needs and shielding them from their problems at the expense of your needs, of your individuality, of your identity, and essentially of your own life. There is a pretty good chance that if you grew up like that, you don't have a life even now. And of course, this can create several fetishes. It can create pornography addiction, because that doctor, like Kenneth Adams in his book, says that a lot of these men feel loyalty to the mom on a subconscious level, that she is the primary partner, so they cannot emotionally connect with other women. And this pornography addiction actually, satisfies their sexual needs while shielding them and preventing them from having to actually risk and develop intimacy with an actual human woman. So even your addiction that is out of control could be because of that. The more years are passing and the more the situation goes on, the worse your life begins, because now the consequences begin to compound. Like, for example, if you cannot stay faithful, the more years are passing and the more failed marriages and failed relationships you have, the worse you feel. Or some of the men become love addicts. This book was extremely useful to me because when I first started during femdom, I felt extremely suffocated because I was attracting a lot of love addict men. That now it's really mind-blowing to me that nothing happens without a reason. There's always a reason, and if you want to improve your life, you have to just keep searching to find it. When you're extremely emotionally deprived, because although your mother is in your life, she has been using you as her emotional tampon, basically, like you're there to hear her complaints, to comfort her, to listen inappropriate sexual things about your father or his affairs or how they don't have sex or whatever, and your needs are not being met. So you become extremely needy, and that's not your fault. I mean, none of the things that I say in this video aim to actually accuse anyone who is watching me or even anyone who sent me these messages anymore. And you're hoping that you're going to find this fantasy woman that's just going to cure your loneliness, is going to give you the love you didn't get. And the horrible thing about all that is that no one can give you that love, because these were needs that weren't met in childhood. And the process to meet them is very difficult, very long term, and I would say ideally it would take the help of a qualified therapist and even a support group of other people going through the same. So even if you did meet me in real life and even if you did date me, it wouldn't work out. You're going to be failing at dating, you're not going to be able to be yourself, and if you're in constant contact with your mother, she may still be using you in inappropriate ways as a substitute husband. And if you somehow meet a woman, they're going to be disgusted by you. Women don't want someone who is already married to his mother. And I think I have said that in the past about my Asian ex, that his cockroach of a mother, and I'm saying cockroach because that's what she was, I'm sorry, she would call on the phone and scream in Korean, "You have to pick her or me." And I could understand it. Like, why does he have to pick? I'm not trying to be his mother. So I'm not competing with your position and his mother. He's not my son. I didn't give birth to him. But no, do you see now how I see it? Her or me, because she's already the wife. Her son is her substitute husband, because her actual husband was going to gay bathhouses 4 times a week to do, I'm not going to describe what he was doing in these gay bathhouses because we're on YouTube and she knew that and she didn't want to divorce because, convenience. Oh my God, if I open my mouth, some of these videos can actually go viral. Like, you don't know how much laundry I have for these people and for a lot of other people. I've been nice long enough. So I'm just saying that I've been through that and no woman will want you. And if you're gay, no man will want that either. No one wants someone interfering in their house and in their privacy 24/7 and harassing them. And if you find a person that is okay with that, that person must be so royally fucked up, they're going to also ruin your life. So I don't have an easy solution, but it's still a solution. You have to gain your financial independence, your mental independence. If you can afford a therapist, you go and get into therapy, and you will see how it goes, one step at a time. If you don't do any of that, even if they die, because that used to be one of my coping thoughts, one day they will die, the trauma is going to remain, and it's still going to destroy your life in indirect ways, and you won't even know what's wrong. So just some food for thought from this video. There is something very wrong in your life if other people are controlling it and you're in your 30s, 20s, 40s, 50s, 80s, if you're an adult. And last but not least, healthy parents want essentially their kids to leave the nest. That's the same thing as in nature.